All right, today's big day. Get to work on the land. We got the caution tape, the four-wheeler. We're gonna take that out and mark all the areas that we want to be cut. We have good ideas of what we want to do, so now it's just time to get boots on the ground and get out there and start taping trees and just marking all the areas that we want cut. Like I believe on the top of the ridge we're gonna have a buck bedding area, and then a couple travel corridors coming down, and then there's gonna be doe beds scattered throughout. We're just going to drag tops around to create that stuff. This section hunts as its own 40, meaning mostly all the deer on that 40-acre section relate to that 40-acre section. Like some of them maybe might cross over, but for the most part they're all just on that 40. So to start off, at the north side of the front 40, we already have a trail close to the top of the ridge, but for the sake of saving money, we're not going to cut a new trail and make a new trail because there's already one kind of towards the top. And when we want to go in there and hunt, we're just going to follow the tacks on the north border and get in there and hunt and then sneak out along that top border without having to walk through the good bedding on that top trail, because that could ruin a lot of good hunting. So, and we're not for sure about this yet. So like if it doesn't work out or we just think we can use the normal trail, then we will use the normal trail. But in the future we'll just walk. We'll walk on that north border with the tacks. We don't really need a trail because it's not that far of a walk. If we shoot one, then we'll just use the normal trail to get the bucks out. It's the whole key to the saving money when we're doing our land management. We do not want to spend a ton of money and then make a big mistake. Right now we're on the north.
Need a bigger piece here.
Huh? Yeah, you might need another piece. Right now we're on the north border and we're just over the top of the ridge, so any deer bedded over on that side shouldn't be able to see us. But that's what we're kind of thinking if we go over here, because the trail's just up over there. After we finished marking the north border, we moved on to the first travel corridor and a couple of doe beds that we found along that travel corridor on the front ridge. And we started to mark the areas that were like, you know, it's coming down the hill like this, and then there's a little flat like that, a little knob, and then it'll go like this, and there's another knob, and we'll just mark all those areas. So then when the tops are cut, we can drag them and we can make like maybe like a cluster of 4 doe beds, so then they can bed on that ridge just above that food. And then just behind the does, there'll be the bucks. It's textbook, you know? You just got all 3 of those right there. That's the plot on the front 40. This is the ridge. It's very open. There's the stand. And this is, and then up here is where all the buck bedding is that we plan to make. And we're gonna make a travel corridor coming from up there and swooping down here and going down. We're gonna figure out that area and mark off where we think that's gonna be.
So this is a perfect example of a doe bed, basically. They can watch the food that they're gonna be feeding in. Our blind is up there, which is pretty close, but if we screen that just a little bit, we could get in there probably.
That's a good bed right there.
We're only using that like one time a year. So this is a good bed right here where they can sit, they can just watch all out here. It's gonna be thick back in there. So.
And that could be planted if we choose to, but it's gonna be there, never gonna be hunted. I'm gonna mark this on my phone so we know in the future that we can make a bed here. And when I say the plot is never gonna be hunted, the reason for that is because the plot's already there and we don't wanna like make another food plot like 40 yards closer to the access, you know what I mean? Like it's already there, and it'd be really hard for us to get in there and hunt that without spooking deer off that 40-acre chunk. And we think it'll attract a lot of deer and it'll hold a lot of deer because it's an unpressured food source that's never going to get hunted. They're never going to see hunters because our access trail is all the way on the south. I'll show it on the map there, all the way on the south. They should never come in contact with hunters, so that food source should just hold them there. And then the bucks should come in once they know there's does there, and then you should be set up there around those travel corridors to kill the bucks. That's our whole plan with that 40 acres right there. Just get the does there, buck bedding up top, and the bucks will be moving around in those travel corridors, and we'll be set up to ambush them when they're running by during the rut. All right, right now we're just marking the area that we want them to cut. Like they're gonna cut down all the big trees inside the yellow. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Then after that, then we'll move the tops around to make a big travel corridor, and then like areas like this on the edge we'll have a couple doe bed there, doe bed here. So this is all doe bedding on this hill. Alright guys, right now we're marking trees just behind me and stuff like that because we got a natural funnel coming down here. You can see it kind of goes down that hill really nicely. It's just a little funnel. So we're just gonna mark off this top here. This is gonna be our buck bedding. I'll pop it up on the map here. It's the front 40 buck bedding. All this top right here, just above the does. The does are gonna be on the little knobs on that hill. So we're just gonna mark it off, and then the loggers are gonna come in and cut all these big trees down, and we'll have the tops to work with for beds. But yeah, it's gonna be good. We're moving on to the top of the ridge, and that's where our peak or our best buck bedding will be, on top of the ridge. That's where they probably will feel the most safe. So we're gonna make a bunch of individual beds for different kinds of winds and scenarios for those bucks to bed. And then when they want to travel and just check the doe bedding areas, they hop on either that west travel corridor or the east travel corridor, and they just follow them down and go by the food sources. It's gonna look good. We think it's gonna work well, so hopefully that works. In this next clip, you're gonna see me walking down this east travel corridor. We're kind of picked this as a travel corridor because it's almost like a V shape on the ridge. So then it just funnels the deer down that. Right now there's a bunch of down branches and stuff on there, but that's an easy fix. We just gotta clear that out, and we'll just have that going all the way down, and then eventually we'll have it kind of branch off into two. One going over to the plot 1 over on the east side, and then going off to the Maverick blind on the west. So there will be a good stand location there for us to sit.
All right, guys. So right now we're walking the east side trail. We're gonna have bedding all in here. So we're walking this trail. There's a mock scrape down at the bottom that we're just gonna have a camera on. We're not gonna have a stand down there.
We're gonna have to clear this right here. All right, we just got done marking section 1, I guess I'll call it, including the X-stand food plot with the doe bedding on the ridge, with travel corridor over there and travel corridor right here coming down with the buck bedding on top. We got that done. Now we're just gonna make this trail swoop over and go to plot 1. So
it's gonna be going. Plot 1's over there. This trail comes down. It's gonna go that way and go that way. Then it's gonna come down to the main trail here, and then cut off this way and then that way. So it'll be like a 4-way, all kind of intersecting right here. You can see already, got a big scrape right here.
And plot 1 is the food plot on the far east side. And the reason why, you guys are probably wondering, there's like a access trail cutting like right in between that travel corridor. That's an access trail, and the neighbors have the right to use that, so we can't really get rid of that. It's just there, and it is what it is, you know. Sometimes you're gonna have stuff like that. But yeah, we just thought it would be a good idea to have that going to the food there, just in case, because that's also a good food source. Right now we're just finishing up that travel corridor that's swooping over to the plot 1 area. And Chris is swooping that other trail, branching it off the main one that we were on, and going over to the Maverick blind. I'll show that on the map. And I should just keep the deer moving around in circles on the land. Behind me here is the thicket. We're kind of close to the pond. I believe the pond is right over there, right in there. And this is a good doe bedding area. And I'm gonna pop it up on the map. It almost looks like a circle. It's a circle section on about like the front 40, and it kind of just circles around. You got the bedding here, you got the doe bedding up there, and you got the buck bedding way up there. And we got the travel corridors marked, so then they should cut every big tree for the travel corridors, and then it'll make it nice and thick so they feel safe traveling. Now we have one more travel corridor that's like already really strong, and it's on the property, and it kind of goes up, and we're gonna try to continue that going all the way up to the top over on that ridge. All right, we just got done marking over there the trail right by that blind, and we're making our way back to the back part. We marked off some spots we want cut for some buck bedding up on that ridge, and once that's all cut, we can tie down some smaller trees, make some hinge cuts, and should be doing good.
I ran out of tape.
Yeah, the loggers are going to be in there to cut this winter, so hopefully we can get in there and start moving the tops around and making the corridors, making beds. We're going to try some like tying the smaller trees together to get them to grow horizontal, maybe making some hinge cuts. Might be planting some switchgrass. But we gotta wait until they cut first, and then we'll get in there. We'll film a lot of our work too, because then you guys can see